What is it like working with Jimmy Carr?
I love Jimmy. I'd say he's probably like beta male.
Mathematician guru, TV presenter and all-round superstar Rachel Riley joins the Business Excellence podcast today.
You know, everyone's a critic, and I'm just ever grateful that social media didn't exist at that point.
Are you a perfectionist? Is happiness the most important thing in your life? Well, Rachel had to learn, remove perfectionism from her life and prioritise happiness.
Sounds like a cheesy chat. I'm like,
Well, no, it's not. Is that why you're successful?
I guess so.
Which do you prefer, 8 out of 10 cats or the original cat? Today we go deeper than what you get to see on TV into the real Rachel Riley.
I'm not sure like the Channel 4, PR people will be happy with me saying that, but I think it is.
All right, Rachel Riley. Give us everything we need to know about Rachel Riley in 30 seconds.
A laugh, there you go, that's one. Don't take myself seriously. Love maths. We'll probably be talking about animals, kids and Man United. Is that 30 seconds?
Oh, no, you did even better. You did even better. You know that's not 30 seconds because it's countdown. So animals, kids, maths, you don't take yourself seriously. Yeah. And Man United. How long have you been a Man United fan?
Well, I'm hanging in there currently as a United fan. So my dad's from Salford, so I had the baby grow before I was born. So Dad's been going to Old Trafford since 1960. So I didn't have a choice. It was either, go out and find my local team and find a new house to live in when I'm 5 years old, or follow your dad.
Is Gary Neville the best football pundit?
I mean, I love Gary Neville, and I think he's great.
Love him.
He's great as a person, and he's great as a pundit. But as a pundit, as a punter watching telly, I love Roy Keane. I'm sorry. He's gold. I just can't get enough of him.
He said something, and this went obviously viral because they do that little round table sort of podcasty thing, don't they? And he said the three things that he hates about people are. Do you remember that one?
I don't know. No, give it to me.
Oh, he said what was it at a party? 3 reasons why he doesn't like a party or something. People smile too much. Like he just said, people just smile. What is the point in the smile? He says.
Okay.
But he pulls it off as he says it, doesn't he?
Okay.
So Roy Keane's the best. Gary Neville's second.
Gary, yeah. Sorry, Gary.
So let's give Gary some advice. What could he do to improve?
No, Gary is his own person. It's like apples and oranges. It's just what you like. I don't think they're their own people. I think who was it? Oscar Wilde. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I think they're doing perfectly in their own roles as themselves. You
know what I like about Gary when he does it? He's my favourite, is Gary. And he's so passionate. Mm-hmm. Yet he's so direct and concise with his words at the same time.
And it's hard. We have, on Countdown, we have a Dictionary Corner guest. So we have someone different every week. And we just had Carl Frampton on, and he's talking about going from the transition of being a boxer to being a pundit and having to criticise the people that you know. And especially when you know the process, you know how much you put into it and you know what it is. As a player, Gareth Southgate talked about it a lot, didn't he? The pressure on the players receiving this criticism. I think it is harder than it looks to criticise people that you know, and I think it, does fray relationships.
Have you ever had much criticism?
Yes, I have.
How did you take it?
It depends. It depends where it's from, and who it's from, and what's behind it. Because there's criticism. So I think I was quite lucky that I got my job. I was 22, fresh out of uni, had never been near a TV studio in my life. I was a maths geek, so I did a maths degree, so I didn't have to talk to anyone for 4 years. And then I was just chucked into this, the first programme ever on Channel 4. And I'm just ever grateful that social media didn't exist at that point, because the feedback I got, it was bit by bit, and my production team were amazing. They've worked on it forever, and they just wanted to look after me, look after the show, and give me the bits of information I needed at the right time. So, for example, we filmed the first 15 episodes of Countdown before any of them went out. So you film 15 episodes, you're not seeing it, and then you look at it and you go, I'm not standing up properly, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's, things that you're not aware about yourself until you see it back. And they gave me the right nuggets to, constructive criticism is great. It's something you can take on board and you can change it. That's all what anyone wants. But now, everyone's a critic. And social media, every man and his dog can contact you with this, that and the other. So a lot of it, I think when I found out, through a journey, I found out I'm a perfectionist. So I'm my own worst critic. And I've found ways to kind of
How did you find
deal
that
with
out?
that. I did Strictly Come Dancing, and I got stage fright, and I got CBT. My then partner, my now husband, recommended I went and get CBT, and it was kind of rapid behavioural therapy. So it was 2-3 hour sessions, and it completely changed my outlook.
What changed?
So I didn't realise I was a perfectionist. So I thought perfectionism was when you want everything to be perfect. And I never wanted everything to be perfect, because that's not, my mathematical rational brain, that's not likely. But what a perfectionist is someone that always picks on the things that go wrong. So whenever I do anything, it doesn't matter what it was, afterwards I would dwell on the things that would go wrong. And Michael McCarthy, the brilliant therapist, he kind of just taught me to undo that and to change the way you think. So now, before I do something, I think, well, what would be a positive outcome? What am I trying to achieve from this thing? And if you achieve it, you can be happy, you can be proud of yourself, you can be pleased with it. But a perfectionist only will look at the negatives, which there will always be, and won't take any pleasure in or pride or responsibility in the things that go well, but will own all the things that went wrong. And to kind of, is a different, way to change your mentality, to own the things that go well and just write off the things that don't. And I think, there's places for both aspects. And when you see, I see documentaries on David Beckham, for example, and the way his dad spoke to him, and you can see the perfectionism in a lot of people drives them. But also, we talked just before we started about Sir Alex Ferguson, and you can see his management style. That works with some people, and with other people, the carrot is better, the praise. So it was just learning that that's the way that I was taught to think. And my friends, we were all an all-girls grammar school. We're all in exactly the same boat. And it was kind of a revelation for all of us that actually we all do this, and there's another way to do it.
I wonder how many more people are in the same boat,
I bet loads.
Well, it was a bit of a blinding flash of the obvious when you said it. A perfectionist, it's not about everything being perfect. It's dwelling on things that go wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that you learn, I wrote it down, was if you want to get out of perfectionism, own the things that go well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting. And I think it pushes you to do more things. And I think, it was a girls' grammar school. We're all kind of high achievers, and you don't want to fail. And I think we're not taught to fail enough. Because, anyone watching this pod or anyone that's got a business, they know that you do learn things. It's a cliche, and it's something you tell kids. But if you're not going to try anything that you're not good at, you're never going to, go out of your comfort zone. You're not going to grow.
When things go wrong, what should you do? You answered that now. When things go wrong, what do you think you should do?
It depends how wrong and in what situation.
All right, so let's say
a little bit wrong. There's the fight or flight. There's the fight.
There's a little bit. Let's go with a little bit wrong.
There's a little bit wrong. Challenges are there to be overcome, aren't they?
Right. So what should you do?
You just assess the situation, and you got lemons, make lemonade. What can you do with it? How can you salvage it? Right. What can you take from it? How can you pick yourself up? How do you use it to carry on and do the next thing? I think you get as you get older, you have more experiences. You realise health and family and the health of your family, they're the things that you can't change too much. Those are the things that matter. Everything else, jobs, money, houses, relationship, to a respect, relationship, you can rebuild it.
Yeah.
And I had a death in the family when I was in my mid-20s, and it changed my perspective on life and on what was going on, and it felt like your life is on this like railroad path. And I did that, you go to school, you go to university, you get a job, you get married, and then it was someone I knew really well, and they were on that path, and they were clean living, and they were sporty, and they were great, and then they just dropped dead out of nowhere. And you just realise that there's only one life. And it's not on this path. You don't know how it's going to go. So you kind of have to grab it, and you have to do what you want to do in the time that we're here. And I know it sounds it sounds cliched, all the rest of it, but there's nothing as clarifying as, someone you love, you losing them, or, the risk of losing them with health problems.
Perspectives change, when big things happen like that, things do change. The point on the mistakes, though, is the mistakes do teach you a lot. When things go wrong, you've got the Thierry Henry says it in the advert, doesn't it? You either win or you learn, I think he says, on the Renault broccoli or whatever he does.
I love where we're getting our nuggets of just all footballers.
We don't learn.
We're learning everything in life from footballers.
Yeah. So, but when things go wrong, we learn. When we make mistakes, we learn.
Yeah.
And more often than not, the bigger the mistake, the bigger the lesson.
Yeah. And moving away from footballers onto bodybuilders. I just watched the Arnie documentary, and it's just a fascinating insight. And I think it starts with the same quote, and then it says it again during it. You can either sit there and you can make yourself a victim and look at everything's bad in the day and like, how am I feeling today? Or you can just get up and go and do stuff. I think that's kind of Gary Neville back to footballers' approach. Attack the day. Get up, dust yourself off, and what goals do I want to achieve? And go for it. Just stop dwelling on stuff that you can't affect.
Imagine if you had that sign on your door when you were walking out the bedroom door, and it said, "Go for it, Rachel."
Well, I had
just as you're walking out the door.
It was ironic, but I remember when I got to uni, I went to Oxford. And I was studying maths, and in my first year, in the olden days, you used to go and buy the posters for your wall, and I had one, and it was a Homer Simpson poster, and it said, "If something is hard to do, it's not worth doing," and that was just my little ironic motivation on the wall. So it's different. It's Homer.
If it's hard to do, it's not worth doing. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. At least you're seeing the funny side, hey? Yeah. Well, there's another phrase that's kind of linked to that, but probably a little bit more on the psychology of achievement. If it's easy to do, it's easy not to do. Anything that's easy to do is also easy not to do. It's easy to go to the gym. It's actually easy. Pack your bag, walk out the door. It's pretty easy to go to the gym, isn't it? It's not hard, but it's easy not to go to the gym. So... it just reminded me of it was obviously a reverse of the Homer thing. And, the good news is Homer didn't have that much impact on your success.
No, but I mean, I'm not a gym goer. I will say that, but you got to kind of work out what your priorities are, because you can't fit everything in. And I found that, having kids, it just kind of, I've given up on emails. Literally, if anyone's emailed me in the last 3 years, I'm sorry. You haven't had a response because something had to give. I have, my priorities have to keep the kids fed, watered, bathed, the house vaguely in an acceptable state, and I have to, go to work. And the emails is just the thing that just died. And you just think, well,
I think that's died for a lot of people. I don't think you're alone on that.
But you just think, when I'm on my deathbed, am I going to be looking back on my life thinking, I wish I'd spent more time doing my emails? And for me, do I want to go to the gym? It's not top of my priority. I like taking the kids out. I do need to get on my bike more, and that's something that will come back. But also, it's not. You don't have to have everything all at once. And I think this day and age, I don't know whether it's the reality stars, but and social media kind of changes the perception. I think for young people as well, it's just easy to think you have to have everything now, whereas you don't. You're going to get older and you're going to have more experience, and hopefully you might build some wealth and be able to have a high, these things can come in time. So I guess patience is one of those things that...
Patience is a virtue.
Yes, that's what they say.
That Rachel Riley possesses.
Yeah, I think that was Wayne Rooney that first said that.
Was it? There we go. So, all right. So mistakes do teach us some things, but let's have a look at your success, because you're very young.
Not that young.
Yeah, well, you're still very young.
I found a good foundation.
Yes, and the pink looks very, very good.
Thank you.
So you're very young, you're very successful. You're in performing...
Well, it depends how you measure success,
well,
doesn't it? It's everyone's measure of success.
Well, tell us more.
What makes you say that I'm really successful?
All that you are.
Sounds like a cheesy chat. I'm like...
Well, no, it's not. One of my coaches, he's called Brad Sugars, and he's been coaching me for the last 10.5 years. He's considered the world #1 business coach.
Right.
He invented business coaching in 2093. It was all consulting before that.
Mm-hmm.
So his depth of knowledge in business, mindset, and wealth is huge. Mm-hmm. And he's stood on stages and people have asked him questions, what you're most proud of. And he said this several times. He said, have seen the people around me become incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So not what they've done, not the mini achievements, not, performing on this. So when you ask me the question, what makes me successful? Probably all that you are, all that you've become from that. And I don't know you. This is literally the first time we've met. But you've brought us into your life. You went to grammar school. You've got 2 children.
I do.
Yeah,
and
you're going.
Kids never. I haven't spoken about being vegan yet. We'll get into about half an hour. I'm joking.
Even the mighty Rachel Riley, she needed to get some help psychologically. She had rapid transformational therapy, which got her to realise that she was the perfectionist and controls this.
But, I mean, even now I can see there's areas in my life where I should be more proactive and are definitely on the back burner. You say things that are easy to do and easy not to do. On my to-do list, I'm the terrible person that does the easy things that you can tick off because you feel like you've ticked off a big job, and then the big things just stay there. And I know, people who want to get stuff done say, do the big things first, otherwise they never get done.
Eat That Frog. There's a book that was written called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And this means eat the most disgusting thing first. I don't know if you like eating frogs or not, but there you go.
Vegan frogs.
Definitely
plant-based frogs.
So do the hardest thing first, and everything else is easy. A lot of people, they find it's too daunting to do the hardest thing first. So you can reverse it, do the easiest thing first, and build the momentum. But what you're saying is you're not building the momentum.
But there's tasks that you have to do every day, but you have to do them every day, and they're continual. It's just a fear, and you're never going to finish it. You have to keep cleaning the house. You have to keep doing this. You have to, and then we've had that. We needed to do the wills 3 years ago, still sitting there. So we just there's things that we need to do. But I guess I remember I was sitting in a friend's jacuzzi, and with the most bizarre. I can't tell you the people, but you just find yourself in this industry. You just meet people, and there's a bunch of people in a hot tub who would never be in a hot tub together. Like Madame Tussauds, and it was quite wealthy and successful businessmen and me, and we were all discussing, what our aims are, what we're going for, and I was the only one that was like, well, I want to be happy in my relationship, and that's what's going to fulfill me in life, and that was kind of an anathema to that wasn't even on their as like a shelf on the things that they were hoping to achieve and their goals for life. And there's always people. I remember, when I went to Oxford and did maths, and I'm this like Essex girl from Southend, and I'd never met anyone who went to Oxford. And even when you go to Oxford and you do maths, people are like, oh, only maths. Because if you're supposed to be maths and Chinese and physics and everything all together, whenever you're doing anything, it's, there's always people who say only that. And I guess from criticism and everyone having an opinion, you kind of learn to just actually ignore the voices that aren't important. And my husband's one of these people as well. He just gets his validation from himself, and I feel like my home life is my rock, and that's the thing that is most important to me. And because I have this comfortable, solid home life, I can go out and I can tackle anything, and I can take on the world, and I can deal with the other stuff. But that's not my identity. It's not my be all and end all. And I actually am quite comfortable with that as a position. And I know it's not going to, give me ambition to go and have the biggest business in the world. But my goal is to be happy and have my family, and that's it. And I've got that for now. So I'm gonna stick with that.
Is that why you're successful?
I guess.
Welcome to the BizX podcast, sharing with you all of the secrets and winning formulas in both business and life, with powerful lessons from guests like Frank Bruno, Nick Jenkins, Brad Sugars, Bianca Westwood, and many, many more. Yet, the sad reality is that over 80% of you aren't subscribed yet. And if that's you, hit the subscribe button now and help us grow this channel so that you can get 1% closer every single week to achieving your dreams in both business and life. Let's do this.
So, success for me means, contentment. And I've got a contentment. And even with things that, even through really hard times and, terrible external stuff going on, I've got my solid unit, and I can take on the world and do whatever outside of that. But the core is there.
And to quote you, comfort at home means I can go out and do anything.
100%. I mean, I see that more clearly than anything. In the recent years, I've had big challenges. I got an MBE for Services to Holocaust Education, which stemmed from fighting anti-Semitism, and that's one of the biggest challenges I've faced and continue to face. And I can be brave because I've just got this solid core at home. And I know friends, that try and take on the world and don't have that support at home, and you just can't. It's just not the same. And friends that have been through domestic violence, domestic abuse, and it's just for any of us who haven't experienced it, and the home is your castle and it's your safety and it's your, that's what it should be. And it's just, I admire people so much. Women that I know that have not had that at home, not had the support, and actually it's a horrible place to be at home, who also look after the kids and also are entrepreneurs and go out and look after their business, and also they do all this stuff. They're my biggest heroes in the world.
One of my biggest teachers that I have had in my life, and I'll tell you if you want to know who the teacher was. They helped me realise that success can often be linked with fame and fortune. Can often be linked with that. But happiness is very different from success. Happiness has got nothing to do with fame and fortune, which you've been alluding to.
Well, I mean, there's a level, isn't there, of fortune in terms of, well, if you don't have to think about money, if it's not a stress on your relationship, you're not having to think about if you're going to be able to feed your kids, if you've got enough money to take them on holiday, that's going to contribute to your contentment. If you've got all those worries, then you haven't even got time to sit and think, am I happy or not, because you're just trying to put food on the table. So,
yeah, and psychologists like Maslow's kind of studied that, and everybody needs stability first. That's the first sort of goal, to stabilise, and your physiological needs, the home around you, a little bit of shelter. You need a level of it. Yeah. And then you can go on a journey for something else if you desire it. I mean, the big thing for happiness that I've come to believe is that happiness is because of relationships.
I think so.
Deep, meaningful, strong relationships with the people that matter most in your life.
Yeah, I mean, we're human, aren't we? That's what we're built for. We're built for love and to be loved. And that's the essence, isn't it?
So what are the secrets to developing really strong relationships?
Well, I guess I think vulnerability and honesty. I think if you've got that with someone, then if you just always know where you are with someone, then you just got this foundation that you can work with, and you can face
vulnerable, honest, always know where you are.
But it's things that you have to learn. Again, like part of the CBT with this guy, is just like kind of teaches you to just trust that other person, to be vulnerable, to say what you're thinking, and trust them that they can take it and you can deal with that. Because if there's little problem, whether it's relationships or work or whatever, but I think this Hannah Fry is a mathematician that I absolutely love. She's brilliant. She's written a book about the mathematics of love, and in the book, I mean, they found that if people argue, couples that argue more are more likely to have a long, successful marriage than couples that never argue. Because when you argue with the little things, you get over them and you learn how to argue. And it's a bit like failing. If you can fail a little bit, you know how to get up and you know how to move on. Whereas people who never argue, who bottle things up, and they wait until there's this huge problem, and then you don't know how to get over it because you've never had to go past that. And it's come to such a level where it breaks things.
I think the listeners are enjoying that comment, by the way. They're getting a bit of self-validation. Wow, we're not, but there's nothing wrong in our household if the arguments are going on.
Well, that can build a stronger relationship because you're being honest with that person. I mean, it depends what it is, obviously, but statistically.
All right, so what have been the 5 biggest successes of your life?
Woo! Well, you say that, don't you? We talk about success and it's having that core. So I guess it's got to be number 1. But then it will be the other things that I've done around it.
The family's number 1.
Having like a core, having a strong relationship.
Okay. Core relationships is number one. You be a success.
It is for me. I'm that's my thing.
What's number?
And
what's
then
number two?
and then there's other things that you're proud of that you've achieved.
What are you
that are
most
more
proud of?
material, more tangible. So, getting my degree. I am proud of that. I mean, I remember
From Oxford.
I didn't think I'd get into Oxford, and I didn't think I'd hear back from them, and then I heard back, and then you get an offer, and then you expect to turn up on the first day, and they turn you away because they made a mistake. And then I remember after my first term there, and it was just such a jump from what I was, from anything you'd done before. And I was sitting in the kitchen, and we were going to go back and have a test, and I was crying in the kitchen, and I was going back, and I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't do anything, and my mum was really worried. Is this all going wrong? And then I went back, and then I did the test, and I got prize. And I think it's so funny to me, but I recognise it a bit more now as well, like the male-female thing. And you do see it quite often and I think in maths as well. I think it's one of those things, girls kind of undersell themselves, and boys often oversell themselves. And you see it through the workplace, and you see it going for jobs, and you see it in so many different positions where, the same. And I remember the boy, and he's great, but in the interviews, and I'd come out of the interviews going, that was really hard, that was awful. And he'd come out going, oh, it was so easy, I nailed that. And then you get to uni together, and you're like, what?
No, you didn't nail it.
But I guess that's just a mentality that you have to recognise, because again, then once you've recognised, actually, there's other people overselling themselves, and I might be more qualified than them. You have to either, compensate for it. I think there's the things that employers can do to recognise that that's the thing to make sure they've got the best person. And also as women, there's things that we can do to know what we're up against, to make sure it's more of a level playing field for us, and we have to kind of,
Have you consciously done any of that as you've moved forward?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you
just being bolder and braver.
I've got two daughters as well, so I'm always thinking, how do you bring them up? I think as girls, we're kind of trained to be, not proud of achievements, and not be arrogant, or not be Miss Bossy Pants, or all the rest of it. And I think I'm trying to train the girls to, take a compliment. If they get a compliment, but just like, no, I didn't do that, or I this lovely dress, yes, it was 5p, I bought it on the floor, whatever. Just kind of be a bit more, that is me.
There was a coach that taught, a female coach from New York, that taught another coach that I know. She was called Gail Bevan, I think. How to take a compliment. And she taught this coach, and then this coach taught a lot of other coaches, me included. Says, just say thank you. When someone gives you a compliment, say thank you so much. And it's really simple, isn't it? It's a way of like not batting it away, and no, it was only 5p, whatever you said.
But you just notice it more and more. And I didn't, because I was at an all-girls school, and it was never on my radar that there was any difference between girls and boys. And I still, it was when I got to uni that there were some boys that thought, they would get better than us. And I was like, sorry, mate, you've got this wrong.
So you've got a 2 and a 4-year-old.
2 and a 4-year-old.
Names?
I've got Maeve and Noah.
Maeve and Noah. And what do you want them to stand for when they're older?
Oh, that's a good question. And I think in this world you have to answer to yourself. You have to be able to look yourself in the mirror. And I'm trying to lead by example. That's what I'm trying to do. They've been brought up. Currently we've got 4 Ukrainian refugees living with us. Because we're, my husband's originally from Russia. I'm Jewish, so my family fled Russian pogroms in what is Ukraine and what is Poland now. And when we saw the war breaking out, we wanted to do something. We thought it was, and we just opened our house out. So my kids, they don't know any different than having loads of people in the house and like kind of an extended family. And they say they've got a big brother now with them, a little boy that's living with us, and he says he's got 2 little sisters. So that's kind of one thing where I want to be someone that puts my money where my mouth is, and I want them to be someone who just respects other people. I think just like number one rule in life: treat other people how you want to be treated. If you do that, what could go wrong?
I mean, look, everyone's just imagining, what's going on. We've got an extended family in our house. We opened it up. We've got 4 Ukrainian refugees. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Living in the house. What's the most beautiful thing in the world? What is it?
I mean, you get some mathematicians that will tell you it's pi and it's the rest of it.
Yeah, pie is the most beautiful thing in the world. What kind of pie?
I don't even know. I mean, I'm not going to say pie. I'm not one of those mathematicians. I mean, the most beautiful thing is like, you know, the pureness of children, isn't it? You know, this like brand new baby laughing. That's just, there's nothing more.
A brand new bit laughter.
Laughter. You know,
Laughter
kids enjoying themselves.
Kids enjoying them. That is beauty, isn't it?
I think so.
Why?
Because it's honest. Kids are honest, and it's just they're these like unsullied beings.
Yeah. Not a care in the world.
Not a care in the world. You
Being
know,
present.
Yeah.
Enjoying life.
Yeah. And I think my theory is, you know, with pets as well. We're big animal lovers, and I think people project what they think about people onto pets. So I think I like animal people because I think they probably think that think, you know, people are good people. So they think pets are good people, and people that don't like don't like them, they don't trust them. I'm just like, what is it that you think about people that makes you not like? I don't. It's a strange theory that no one's ever. We haven't got any at the moment. We've had cats and dogs, but we're not around enough.
One of ours died. One of our cats died, Rocky, last year. So it's always sad when a family pet dies, isn't it? But yeah, very much an animal lover. Any living organism kind of lover.
Yeah.
All right, so we've had two of your 5 biggest successes.
Well, I am very proud of my MBE.
When did you get that?
I got it in the New Year's Honours, the first King's New Year's Honours, so 2023, and I think I got to go to Windsor Castle, and I was the first batch that the King presented the awards to at Windsor Castle. So it was a really special moment, and my parents and my husband came.
Deserved moment as well.
Well, it was. I think things like that are kind of congratulations on what you've done. Keep at it. I saw it as like a kind of now I have to earn it. I feel like it's something that it's a responsibility that you have to. It's not just like, oh, got it, I can put my feet up now. So that's how I see it.
Have you always been ambitious?
I wouldn't describe myself as ambitious particularly. It's that next thing.
Recorrect me on my words. You know, I mean.
Well, I guess I'm ambitious without having an ambition.
What does that mean?
For me, it means I want to everything I'm doing. I want to do it well.
Because
that's who I am.
Right.
It's like I'm a high achiever since I was, got my first prize age 4. I was always top of the class, and it just, I always had loads of friends, and I liked sport, and I like to do things well.
How have you found working on TV?
I mean, I love it. I love it. I mean, I'm a maths geek. That's who I am. That's what I love. My like.
Does everyone ask you strange maths questions? I didn't write any down, by the way. So.
Well, I kind of like program for the countdown numbers game. So even if you put the numbers in a different order, my brain would glitch.
I love the numbers.
So do I. But that's like my mindful. I could sit there. Honestly, I could do them all day, every day, and I would be quite happy.
I used to wait for them. When I was young, watching it, I was like, I wasn't bothered about the word game. I just wait for the break. Almost the break, isn't it?
Yeah.
The numbers.
Well, there you go. If I need to go on holiday, I've got a replacement.
Not quite as sharp as you there. What have been the highs and lows though on TV?
Things that not everything works, and sometimes you do a new show and it doesn't catch on, it doesn't get recommissioned, or you do a pilot and it doesn't go anywhere, or. I mean, I'm lucky that I've got this in this industry. There's not much stability, and to have a job like Countdown, where there's as much stability as you're going to get in this industry, and I love it. And my focus when I got it was to do the numbers game, and the presenting thing would hopefully follow, because I just kind of learned that on the job.
And it has.
Well, I hope so. I think I've definitely improved, and I've learned a lot in my 16 years now, and you do get better. And I think there's some things that, again, you can't just have everything all the time at the same time. Some things are just will grow.
What have you learned about presenting?
It's again the same kind of thing about looking before you do something, what you're hoping to achieve. So with presenting, I think what you feel and what you're doing is totally different to what the viewer sees. So the product you want to make is something good for the viewer, for the listener. And working in different forms of telly, so I'm so lucky, I'm a massive comedy fan, and I get to watch, the best comedians in the country come on and do their thing. And when we film 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, it started as a one-off, like it was Channel 4's 30th birthday, and there was a whole mash-up evening of different shows, and it just took off, and we've done over 200 now. But
it is pretty incredible.
But watching the comics perform, we could record like 47 minutes of telly in about 2.5 hours, and sometimes their jokes just fall flat, and sometimes they've prepared stuff and it just doesn't work. Sometimes it's brilliant, and sometimes the funniest stuff is stuff that they, the callbacks and the ad libs and all the rest of it. But just seeing a joke fall flat on its face and them just not caring and just carrying on, because they know the 47 minutes is the output that the viewer, and we're making it for the viewer. There's like people in the room, there's maybe 200 people in a room, but you've got however many 100,000 million at home watching, and that's what you're trying to make. And again, with dramas or with telly, with pre-recorded stuff, if you get a few things wrong or you even fluff your lines, that's all on the edit room floor. What you're trying to get is this product at the end of it. And I think having that like zooming out picture, rather than like, oh, I missed that word, or I got that wrong, or I said that, it's like what I'm trying to make will be good. And that's kind of what you have to have in your mind when you do anything. Like, what are people going to hear from what you're saying?
What is it like working with Jimmy Carr?
Well, I love Jimmy, and I think he's one of the wisest, smartest people around. He's just got kind of just this broad vision and kind of knows a lot about everything and has this just big view on the world. I think he's great to work with. And there's some comedy shows where I know the comedians find them a lot more competitive, and people trying to step over each other to get heard and to get their joke out, and people do they say coming on Cats Does Countdown, it's more inclusive, it's more friendly, and everyone gets a shot. And one of the great things about it is it's Channel 4 uses it as a vehicle for new talent. So it might be one of the first places people saw Joe Lycett, or so many different characters that come on, and that might be the first time they've seen them, and it's just a nice friendly platform to introduce new talent to the public. It is.
It's a genius move, really, from them. Just going back to Jimmy Carr, because he is a really good communicator. Mm-hmm. Why? What is it about him that you think makes him a good communicator?
Well, I think he's once you get to know him as a person, he's quite. I'd say he's probably like beta male. He's like very, very thoughtful. He's not trying to be the biggest, prove himself. Like on a one-on-one level, you can just have a very human conversation, and he knows everybody. He's like the best networker I've ever met.
Why? What does he do when he's networking?
Well, he works around the world, and he just seems to know everybody, and just is like a people person. He's just quite astute on like an emotional IQ is very high. And anyone that's seen him on a podcast will absolutely recognise what I'm saying, and anyone who's only seen him from Your Face or Mine will think I'm insane.
He said something, I wrote it down, because this one, it kind of stops you in your track, and you'll have heard this, you'll have seen it before. You would give everything that you own in 25 years to be the age you are right now, and with the health that you've got right now. You would give everything you own in 25 years to be back where you are right now, which is all about gratitude, isn't it? It's all about being in the present.
But in the present, yeah. And
which do you prefer, 8 out of 10 Cats or the original Countdown?
I like both, and it's been different over the years with different hosts of the show and the experience and all the rest of it. But I'm a numbers geek, so I love the numbers. So when I do regular Countdown, we film 15 shows in 3 days, and I get to do 60 numbers games a day. Or 60 numbers games a block, rather.
Is that right?
60? 4 a day, yeah. So I love the numbers game, so I get my hit of numbers on regular Countdown. And then when we do Cats, we do 2 shows a day, a little bit of numbers. Sometimes it's about the product, so it's not all about me. So it's not that Countdown is all about me, but on Countdown there's 3 presenters. The letters and the numbers are the star of the show. So the number solutions have a pivotal role in the show, and I love doing the numbers game. On Cats Does Countdown, the aim is to entertain people. The aim is comedy. and I'm not a comedian, so I'm there as part of the ensemble, but I'm not, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm not saying anything for ages, but the show will be great, and I'm just sitting there kind of as like a, you know, a viewer, and I get to enjoy my favourite comedians that I've been to see 6
the laughter
times.
that's happening.
Exactly. And, you know, some stuff now people can quote it, especially, you know, we've sadly lost Sean Locke, who was just this evil genius. Like, he was just brilliant, just so funny. He's kind of, I think until he died, we didn't quite realise how strongly the public felt about him as well, because he's kind of the comedian's comedian, like in the industry. You know, he just is what you see is what you get. So you know, people can imagine him being a bit difficult sometimes, but I loved that about him. But he was just so sharp, and he just had a way of viewing things and just different to everybody else. So comedians just really respected him, and the amount of times, you know, Jimmy would be getting the tissues because he's crying so much. And then, you know, there was this outpouring of like grief and, you know, praise for him when he went. It's deserved.
It is amazing what you said there, though. The star of the show on the normal countdown is the letters and the numbers. That's why people are watching it.
Yeah.
And that's a nice perspective to have as a presenter. Actually, look, this is all about the viewers. This is not about me. This is about the numbers and the letters.
That's why the show's, you know, it's the longest running game show now. I think it was 43 years.
Wow.
42. How old are we? What year is it? 42 years. And, you know, I think it's a bit like The One Show. I remember, you know, The One Show was doing brilliantly with, I think, Adrian Charles and Christine Blakely, and then they left, and then they replaced them, and they did just as well at the same time slot on the same show. And Countdown, people watch it because it's, you know, a comfortable pair of slippers. It's the same clock music. It's the same letters and numbers. Yeah. It's something... I used to watch it as a kid after school, so I used to go home from school, 4 o'clock, 15 to 1, 4:30 Countdown. Even as a child, I can play against my little brother, I can get the numbers games, and I can enjoy it, and it's, you know, a little bit educational, so I can get away with doing that instead of my homework. And now we have people who watched it with their grandparents when they were kids, and now their own kids are learning their letters and numbers from watching the show. So it's just really like, that's, you know, that's
comfortable
what it's about.
Pair of slippers.
I'm not sure, like, the Channel 4, you know, PR people will be happy with me saying that, but I think it is.
I think there's a really positive headline in that. I think you know, when people at home, do you want an uncomfortable pair of slippers, or do you want a comfortable pair of slippers? Yeah. I'm just turning this into a positive for you, just in case Channel 4 watch this.
A timeless, you know, news list. We pre-record, you know, a few weeks to a couple of months ahead. So it's news list, timeless, politics list, everything list. It's just the letters and the numbers and a friendly afternoon day, you know, quiz show.
What's the best gift you can give anyone?
I'm going to sound like all the people from Married at First Sight now. But I do love all that languages of love stuff. And I think, well, for me, quality time is the thing.
All right, so what's the difference between investing time and spending time?
I mean, I think it's pedantic. I don't know. For me, I'm not sure there's any...
All right.
I don't know. It depends what you mean by it. So quality time is just, you know, giving someone your time and your attention. So it's not, you know, not on your phone, just sitting there and not listening or not caring. It's just giving someone your attention. I think that's...
one of my friends phoned me up the other day and he said... I've bought this thing. It's amazing. You've got to have it. You've got to tell everyone about it, the coaching and everything. And he bought this box on Amazon, this plastic box. It looks
to put
like
your phone in?
a tupper. Yeah.
My friend just talked about that yesterday.
And
she's got one.
It's like a safe.
It's
but
so
you can
funny,
see your phone in it. And it's got like a safe lock, you know, one of them like you see on Mission Impossible where they would turn it around. So you can lock it and you set a timer on it and you literally can't get your phone out until... So you can put 2 hours or 3 hours.
I mean, it shows you've got no we don't have self-control. And my friend, you know, the one I mentioned who's kind of set these goals, she and her husband both independently thought, you know, they just found that sometimes they were just scrolling Instagram, 5-10 minutes, time has passed, they feel like they've achieved nothing or got nothing from it. So they just deleted it. And I just like, if we all had that kind of level of self-control, like, this isn't good for me. Or just a little bit more conscious about, does this make me feel good? Does this add anything to my life? Is it preventing me from doing all these other things that I should be doing? You know, they're stronger people than I am.
Some of the British rowing team, they wrote a book called "Will It Make the Boat Go Faster?" because they're getting all these ideas to be more successful, to achieve. Oh, should we try this? Should we try this? And they had some filtering questions, and one of the last questions was, will this make the boat go faster? If you cannot conclusively answer that as an adamant yes, reject it instantly.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like your friend with five objectives there.
Absolutely.
So we know your favourite football team is Manchester United. And what's your favourite movie?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, it's between something like The Departed or Pretty Woman.
So The Departed, is that DiCaprio?
Departed is, yeah.
Is it DiCaprio?
It is, yeah, DiCaprio, Matt Damon. Matt Damon's in it. It's got a great cast. Mark Wahlberg's in it.
Oh, I love Mark Wahlberg.
Jack Nicholson.
Mark Wahlberg's got some really good family movies as well that he's in.
Okay, like Ted. The one with the teddy bear.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know about family movies, for Ted. Your kids will have to be a bit older for that one. Daddy's Day Home or something. I can't remember what it was. There's two. He's with Will Ferrell in one of them.
Oh, Elf, yeah. Elf. I mean, that
you watch it every Christmas?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah. Elf is just joyous. Elf is brilliant. We quote Elf.
Great news, I saw a dog. What's your favourite quote in Elf?
Great news, I saw a dog.
Great news, I saw a dog.
It might be I saw a dog today. Smiling's my favourite.
Smiling's my favourite.
There's so many amazing, like, you sit on a throne of lies. That comes out all the time.
All right, let's move on to Pretty Woman for a second. What's your favourite line in Pretty Woman?
I mean, it's how I felt with my going in, when I got my countdown job, and I went from student, literally fresh out of uni, so I was 22, and I got this clothes budget, and I had to go shopping for 15 shows.
An obscene
so people would be
amount
like,
of money.
I was just like, big mistake, huge.
Big mistake, huge mistake.
You just love that. I just love that moment in the film. Big mistake, huge.
Well, colour me happy. There's a sofa in here for two. Yeah,
Brilliant.
Really good movies. All right, so the listeners. Let's make this about the listeners now. They've just sort of had an insight into your life, actually, and especially about what happiness is, what are the core success areas, and what's driven you to do that. What's the first thing that you would recommend that listeners do in their life after this?
I think my friend's tip, and I like it's not my tip, that work out what is important to you. Those, like, whether it's 5 things or, she said 5 is good enough for me. The 5 things that you want for your life that are going to drive you, that make, that will be important. And when you think, what can I do to achieve that? And try and follow it. Actually have a conscious assessment of, will this help me achieve this goal that I want to achieve? And it's going to be different for everyone. Because, depending on what those goals are, obviously. But I think that's really sage advice.
My favourite part of this conversation is actually your down-to-earth nature. You're really just a normal person that's getting on with the things, that's coping with the 2 and 4-year-old and having a career. And you know what? We didn't major on this, but one of my favourite things is just knowing that you've let 4 people into your house. I actually think that's the biggest gift you can give anyone.
I'm really glad it's like we've got an extended family now, and everyone always says volunteer work, you get more out of it than you get put into it, and I think we have. We've got this big extended family, and my parents are in Essex, we're in London. My mother-in-law, she's here at the moment. She lives in the far east of Siberia, so we don't have the village that humans used to have. Yeah. Especially to raising kids, you have this extended family, you have the aunts and everyone around, and it's like we've got that because currently we've got, with my mother, we've got 4 extra women in the house than we normally have, and it's just like sharing. It is very, it's a village, so I can help the little boy with his homework. We can pick him up from school if they need help with that, and they make, you leave vegetables around and you've got a pot of borscht. And you're making a difference in someone's life that they'll remember forever, and it will have an effect both ways.
Maybe that's the best gift you can give anyone. Help them make a difference in their lives. Maybe it is. What's been your favourite part of the conversation?
I think it's been really deep. I like it, and it's just I didn't used to have these conversations or have these thought processes, and I think when you start having them, you work things out about yourself, and I think it does help you, move in a direction you want to be moving in, rather than just floating along.
Here's the great news. This is literally great news right now that I'm just announcing to that camera.
Oh yeah.
Rachel Riley is going to be the host of BizX 2025. Can you believe it? Yes, you can. You've seen her now, and you'll be seeing her on stage in April next year, and we'll see you there. Rachel Riley, thank you very much indeed.
Look forward to seeing you there.
If you like what you hear on the BizX podcast, then join us at the BizX conference, bringing you more of what you love, live on stage, and helping you step up in both business and life. Just click down here for more information.